That's done over there. Okay, 7 o'clock. Let's get the Central Berkshire Regional School Committee meeting to order here. So please note that this meeting is being audio and video recorded. Motions shown are examples. These may be
recording in progress.
amended. Can we rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks. Okay, roll call, please.
Dr. Beth Reese.
Here.
Charlotte Crane.
Here.
Dr. Eberwein. Todd Emerson.
Here.
Mr. Farella.
Here.
Ellen Ladazori. Elizabeth Lounsbury.
Here.
John Mason. Stephen Morantz.
Here.
Elizabeth Oakes. Robert Ronzio. Mr. Stewart.
Here.
Sarah Tucker.
Here.
Kimberly Weatherall.
Here.
Rich Peters.
Here. Okay, we do have a quorum. Any response from the audience? Hearing none. Okay, student affairs. Grace, I think you're online.
Okay, so next week, Wahconah students have midterms starting on Tuesday, January 13th, ending on Friday, January 16th. Our sophomore class of 2028 is holding a winter dance to fundraise, and that is taking place on January 24th. Apollonian Players, our theater group, have been hard at work for their production of The Addams Family, which is happening on March 27th and March 28th. And National Honor Society Empty Bowls event will be happening on February 3rd. And just to turn your attention to Empty Bowls, if you're unfamiliar with it, basically it's one of NHS's events. It's the mission with Empty Bowls is to bring awareness to food insecurity within this community. An article within Berkshire actually mentions this, bringing to the attention that more than 39% of Berkshire residents are food insecure. And we hope that with this mission through NHS, we hope to continue to work with the community and the school committee to ensure that people are not living with food insecurity and are able to feed themselves and their families. Just in case anyone was wondering kind of what that is, because we're wanting to spread bring the attention to the issue of food insecurity recently.
Thank you, Grace. That is a great event, and it's been going on for many years. My kids did it, so it's really cool. Thank you. Any questions for Grace? Okay. Next up is the financial reports. And we had warrants that were previously signed, and then gifts and donations. So the first one is authorization and scholarship donations.
Be it resolved that the Central Berkshire Regional School Committee accepts the following donations totaling $500 as recommended by the district treasurer. And that $500 is donated from James and Conroe for the Martin J. Phillips Memorial Scholarship Fund.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Questions? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Dr. Kraft Reese.
Yes.
Charlotte Crane.
Yes.
Todd Emerson.
Yes.
Mr. Farella.
Yes.
Elizabeth Lounsbury.
Yes.
John Mason.
Yes.
Stephen Morantz.
Yes.
Mr. Stewart.
Yes.
Sarah Tucker.
Yes.
Kimberly Weatherall.
Yes.
Rich Peters.
Yes, motion carries. Next up, acceptance of donations from Berkshire Taconic on behalf of Central Berkshire.
Be it resolved that the Central Berkshire Regional School Committee approves the following donations totaling $10,000 from Berkshire Taconic on behalf of Central Berkshire Regional School District as recommended by the district treasurer. That's $3,500 awarded to CBRSD Craneville and Kittredge Library updates and $6,500 awarded to CBRSD Early Childhood Coordinator for First Things First, Part 4.
Okay, motion and a second. Any questions on this one? Seeing none, hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Dr. Kraft Reese.
Yes.
Charlotte Crane.
Yes.
Todd Emerson.
Yes.
Mr. Farella.
Yes.
Elizabeth Lounsbury.
Yes.
John Mason.
Yes.
Stephen Morantz.
Yes.
Mr. Stewart.
Yes.
Sarah Tucker.
Yes.
Kimberly Weatherall.
Yes.
Rich Peters.
Yes, motion carries. Next up, acceptance of donations from the 7 Towns Educational Enrichment Program grants through Berkshire Taconic.
Be it resolved that the Central Berkshire Regional School Committee accepts the following donations totaling $6,080 from the Berkshire Taconic Steep Grant as recommended by the District Treasurer as listed.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions on this one? Seeing none, all roll call vote, please.
Dr. Kraft-Reese,
Yes.
Charlotte Crane,
Yes.
Todd Emerson,
Yes.
Mr. Farella,
Yes.
Elizabeth Lounsbury,
Yes.
John Mason,
Yes.
Stephen Morantz,
Yes.
Mr. Stewart,
Yes.
Sarah Tucker,
Yes.
Kimberly Weatherall,
Yes.
Rich Peters.
Yes, motion carries. Next up, acceptance of donation to Best Buddies Program at WRHS.
Be it resolved that the Central Berkshire Regional School Committee accepts the $5,000 donation from the John Michael Kowalczyk Memorial Fund Committee to the Best Buddies Program at Wahconah Regional High School as recommended by the District Treasurer.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions on this one? Seeing none, hearing none. Okay, roll call, please.
Dr. Kraft-Reese,
Yes.
Charlotte Crane,
Yes.
Todd Emerson,
Yes.
Mr. Farella,
Yes.
Elizabeth Lounsbury,
Yes.
John Mason,
Yes.
Stephen Morantz,
Yes.
Mr. Stewart,
Yes.
Sarah Tucker,
Yes.
Kimberly Weatherall,
Yes.
Rich Peters.
Yes, motion carries. Next up, acceptance of donation to WRHS Girls Lacrosse.
Be it resolved that the Central Berkshire Regional School Committee accepts the $6,092.54 donation from the WRHS Girls Lacrosse Booster Club to the WRHS Girls Lacrosse as recommended by the District Treasurer.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. Any questions on this one? Seeing none, hearing none. Roll call, please.
Dr. Kraft-Reese,
Yes.
Charlotte Crane,
Yes.
Todd Emerson,
Yes.
Mr. Farella,
Yes.
Elizabeth Lounsbury,
Yes.
John Mason,
Yes.
Stephen Morantz,
Yes.
Mr. Stewart,
Yes.
Sarah Tucker,
Yes.
Kimberly Weatherall,
Yes.
Rich Peters.
Yes, motion carries. Next up, acceptance of donation to Kittredge Elementary School.
Be it resolved that the Central Berkshire Regional School Committee accepts the art donation from Ryan and Abby Williams to the Kittredge Elementary School.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion on this one? Yeah, Liz.
What kind of art is this?
There's a picture.
Oh,
of
it's a
it.
picture.
I think,
There is.
At the very end.
Right.
yes, there it is.
And it was a very lovely picture.
Any other questions, comments? Okay, roll call, please.
Dr. Kraft-Reese,
Yes.
Charlotte Crane,
Yes.
Todd Emerson,
Yes.
Mr. Farella,
Yes.
Elizabeth Lounsbury,
Yes.
John Mason,
Yes.
Stephen Morantz,
Yes.
Mr. Stewart,
Yes.
Sarah Tucker,
Yes.
Kimberly Weatherall,
Yes.
Rich Peters.
Yes, motion carries. Thank you.
I don't know why I think I'm asking that.
I'm going to ask Siri for the next one.
I'll keep it over here.
Okay, next up, approval of minute. Can I get a motion for the approval of minutes of the regular meeting of December 11th, 2025?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions, concerns on this one? Yeah, Liz?
In the safety and wellness report, under current vaping protocol, the last sentence, the word infrastructure should be infractions. Thanks.
Sure.
Okay, roll call vote to the minutes as amended.
Dr. Kraft-Reese,
Yes.
Charlotte Crane,
Yes.
Todd Emerson,
Yes.
Mr. Farella,
Yes.
Elizabeth Lounsbury,
Yes.
John Mason,
Yes.
Stephen Morantz,
Yes.
Mr. Stewart,
Yes.
Sarah Tucker,
Yes.
Kimberly Weatherall,
Yes.
Rich Peters.
Yes, motion carries. Okay. Moving on, superintendent's report and recommendations.
Okay. The superintendent's report, actually, I'm looking for my results here. The one thing that I included in the report, other than the budget that we'll be talking about, is the results from, thank you, the survey that we put out to gauge the impact of our new calendar this year on families. And we had a pretty good idea of how it impacted our staff and our ability to provide PD and that piece of it. But we wanted to see how it impacted families. So we had 128 responses, which is pretty good for a survey. It's more results than we normally get. I did push that out through Parent Square. The colors aren't coming back. Actually, we'll have to do this in color when we get closer again to the calendar. I'll put a presentation back together and I'll put this out again, but I just wanted everybody to be able to look at it. So it's around 80% of families said it was very manageable or manageable. We had 10% or like 15% say it was very challenging or challenging. And so, you know, we're trying to gauge what those challenges are, and we'll come back to that at the end. The majority of people said that it was either much better, slightly better, about the same, or they weren't here last year to know the difference between the calendar, which left 6% saying that the PD calendar was slightly worse than last year, or and 8% saying it was much worse. Oh, there's the color version. Thank you. How have the PD days impacted your family's schedule? 40% said not at all, and around 30% said it required adjustment to childcare. It required missing work or adjusting work schedules was another nearly 30%. 10% said it created stress or difficulty for the family. 14% said it provided helpful time for appointments or other things around the holidays. So it's a snapshot. If you look at it, it seems to be generally trending towards the positive impact rather than the negative. But if you look at the feedback, and I did send a link of the actual anecdotal feedback that people gave. We had 36 responses of people that just gave input onto how it specifically impacted them. And we do know that for the families that it negatively impacted, it did provide challenges around how to provide childcare during that time for those 2 days, which we had anticipated, and we just weren't sure of how impactful that was, or how many families that would impact. But I think it gives us good information that over the next month or so, if you have time to look at it and really take that into account, along with the feedback that we received from our staff on our professional development days, we can make a more informed decision about how we formulate the calendar for next year. So we'll come back to that in March maybe, or February, late February, early March, when we do the calendar again. But I just wanted everybody to be able to put eyes on that, and that we did do like we said, and we got some feedback from families on that. Any questions about that piece?
Right. Do you have any additional data layers to show like socioeconomic status and how lower income families are affected versus single parent families versus?
I didn't have the form track email addresses. If we did, we could have linked that to and it wasn't a question, we didn't ask that specifically.
Yeah, I'm just curious how that plays out in the district, you know, for responses, just something to think about going forward.
Yeah, it's I don't know. And I don't know how we would put that into a survey without being,
How to put it into
into an anonymous survey and ask for income levels. And I think what I pulled out of this is, for most people, it either didn't have an impact or had an impact that they were able to manage. But for the people that it was a barrier, it was a significant one. And so I think that's what we have to weigh is, you know, there's always going to be people that have barriers regardless of the calendar. Did this create an unnecessary barrier for the families that it affected?
Right.
We did offer the other piece of this is for our staff. We
Offer childcare for the staff.
For this year we did because one of the, what we heard as a barrier through negotiations was that one reason why our paraprofessional staff often missed professional development was because on half days they didn't have additional childcare. So we created childcare at one of our elementary schools and provided drop-off, which was accessed. And so if in the future we grew that program, which we now have a base for, if we offer that to families, it might be a place where we could talk to the CRA. Many people actually said that because the CRA offered the camp program during those days, that it made it manageable. So, which is good, but there was also a cost associated with that. So, I don't know. We could look at how we could leverage what we've done through our childcare for our staff and see if we could expand on that.
Yeah, I think the feedback that I've gotten was that generally positive for having that block of time, especially families that needed to travel.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Thank you. Oh, you need that. Thank you. And secondly on the list is our initial budget, which Greg and I will be presenting. So this budget is that we're putting forward for our initial budget is one that we feel is supportive of our students and our staff, and is in response to the feedback that we got from the full committee around our school improvement planning sessions, where you spoke with our teams and really asked, what we need to move forward, which sparked a budgeting process that was inclusive of our administrative teams and included our instructional leadership team, which is a team of teachers, and so it sifted through several layers, and what we think we have in front of you for initial budget is something that is supportive of those needs, answers some of the questions around what we need, supports our district improvement plan, and will really help the district move forward. And there's a lot of unknowns here, and we've guessed on some of these numbers, and Greg's going to talk about that as we come through. It'll get clearer as we move through the budgeting process, but tonight's our initial take. And so what we'll be seeing here is a FY27 budget of $40,284,107, which is a $3.6 million increase, which comes across as a 9.94% overall.
And this includes all funds, so if it's a revolving account, if it's a grant, if it's school choice, food service, this includes all revenue sources. So as we're looking at that $3.6 million increase, we kind of split it up into two areas. One is salaries, and the other one is expenditures, contractual items. So the first part we're going to go over is the expenditures. So we do have some contractual or fixed rates as part of this contract. One being pupil transportation. We're moving into our 5-year contract for our transportation. We see a 3% increase year over year. So we have $50,000 set aside for the pupil transportation. One of our unknowns is our other insurances. That's property insurance, workers' compensation. Right now I have 10% in there. I'm hoping it comes in closer to 3 to 5. But as we move through the budget process, we'll have a better idea. One of our large unknowns is our health insurances. Right now we have set aside $1.2 million for increases. That includes a 20% for active health insurance, 16% for retiree health insurance, and 5% for dental. The dental, I have a feeling it's going to come in under 5%, but we'll know that at the end of the month. Retirees, they run their insurance on a calendar year, so it is January through December. Our retirees did see a 16% in January this month. We're expecting another double-digit increase next January. So I'm setting aside the same 16%, hoping it comes in at 10% maybe, but I won't know that number until next December. Active health insurance, we'll know at the end of the month. The meeting is January 28th. All we are aware, we're feeling that it's going to be a double-digit increase. I'm hoping it comes in closer to 10%. I just don't want it to put a 15 and then have it come in at 16. So I have 20% set aside, but as we move to the tentative budget in February, we'll have a concrete number. The last fixed rate.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Who is our health insurance people?
So we are part of a collaborative called Berkshire Health Group, and then we have insurance through Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Have you done any shopping around? I hear good things about GIC.
We have looked into it a little bit last couple of years and we've seen the increases. I don't know if right now is the right time to move around. One is pretty much all areas are seeing increases across the board. Also being an unknown joint, we're such a large group as Central Berkshire, going to another, that group doesn't know what our claims are, what our life looks like, so we probably would see a large increase that first year until it settles out. The other piece is we're a large chunk of Berkshire Health Group, and there still is a trust in Berkshire Health Group that there's money set aside for if halfway through the year we see large claims, they can cover those claims. If we move to a new group, we're kind of going in with nothing. We leave that trust behind and we just join the new group. So it's something on our minds. We've talked about it a couple times, but I don't know if right now is the right time to.
When we looked last year, I believe that the increases were very similar
Yes.
in GIC and Berkshire Health Group. It's something that's a national trend, and Mass is getting hit hard. Other districts that are releasing their initial budgets are anticipating very similar costs, mostly around 20%. We're hopeful that it'll be closer to 10%, but we want it to be conservative for this initial budget.
The last piece of these fixed rates is our charter school assessment. This is something that is assessed by the state through DESE. This $120,000 increase is what we're seeing as an assessment over what we budgeted for FY26. So this is just getting us to a place where we have enough. If this rate stays the same next year, we were under budget going into FY26. So we will have this number, the charter school assessment from the state comes out through the governor's budget, and that should be out, I believe, the 28th of January. So we'll know that going into tentative as well, or an idea.
Great, can you explain how that works, charter school? So, I mean, it sounds like we get money from the district, and then we get it elsewhere.
So we have students in our 7 towns that attend charter schools.
So it's like vocational then?
Not vocational, but I think Bart is the only one. We have, I think, one.
Chinese immersion
Yes.
in Hadley.
So we have students in our 7 towns attending those. We have to pay a portion of those students that are attend there. We get a smaller reimbursement, but the assessment outweighs the reimbursement.
So
And the longer the student stays at the charter school, the less the reimbursement. So when they first go there, we see a larger reimbursement, but if they stay there for the full 7 years, by the end we'll see very little to no reimbursement.
But there still are students.
But there still are
within the
students.
district.
Yes.
Got it. Thanks.
Another large portion of our increase is special education costs. Out-of-district tuition, we did have a few kids move in this year that we were able to cover. We're moving things around. We did have one come back to the district, so it helped us out a little bit. But we do see an increase in our out-of-district next year. The following year, we're hopeful to see a decrease as some of our students will be aging out going into FY28. Transportation, this is the same rate as our pupil transportation, so this is a 3% increase over what we're currently seeing. And then contracted services, we're increasing that line item. We have some students that don't attend out-of-district schools, but they attend a contracted service through Berkshire County ARC. So we have some students in that 18 to 22 age group that will be attending that program. Chromebook and computer renewal. If you remember last year, we did have some money set aside, I believe, in the initial and the tentative budget for our Chromebooks and just computer renewals throughout the district. It came out. We were able to piece things together this year, but this is something we're hoping to get into the budget for next year, as we do have currently a K through 12 one-to-one Chromebook. I should have. OPEB, this is part of the budget guidelines that the school committee sets. If you remember last year, we cut it from $400,000 to $50,000. So FY26, we are currently funding our OPEB trust at $50,000. This just increases it back up to the $400,000.
Can I go back to the Chromebook and computer just for a second? Joe has put together a very detailed long-term replacement plan. I think it's over 7 years. And the worry is if we push it off, the longer we push off the $300,000, the harder it's going to be to recoup and actually stay on target for replacement. And we'll have to we'll have to rethink both one-to-one and how, what computers and who has computers for staff. And so he's been very cognizant of buying technology when prices are right, and also keeping things renewed so that they stay safe, like so that the security in the computers is up to date, and that's dependent on staying on a cycle that he knows really well. And so that's why we're trying to get that back in as much as we can.
The next piece is instructional costs. So we've been talking a lot about high quality curriculum for our students K through 12. We are severely underfunded in our budget. We've in the past been able to purchase curriculum through end of year purchases at the end of the year if there is money left over. Well, for instance, for years we had health insurance premium holidays. So every June, it was going really good for a while. So employees and the district did not pay the premium for June for health insurance. It saved the district a large amount of money that we would have to spend by the end of June, and that usually went to curriculum. That is not the story anymore. So we are hoping to get a line item in there. That would be, I think we have K through 12 renewals for curriculum.
Our ELA team landed on a high quality curriculum. Our high school team landed on a high quality curriculum today, this afternoon. We've been a year and a half piloting, and we're really excited about being able to continue the work that we've done K through 8 and bringing that up at 9 through 10 for next year. And that would give us high quality in ELA in all of our classes, 9th and 10th. And this also includes updating our science curriculum, which we've worked really hard on getting a three-year plan to get a phenomenon-based curriculum that we've landed on as well at the middle school. And so that budget would sustain our contracts for math, ELA, K through 10, and also introduce science at the middle school level and give teachers, and the teachers need the tools that they need to teach, and we have to figure out a way to pay for that one way or the other. It'd be nice to have it in the budget to get it in as part of the budgeting process.
The other piece is professional development. That is something we have not increased in the past, our professional development line. And that also includes an increase that we've always budgeted for professional development and used that bucket for both general ed and special ed professional development. So this is also funding one of our special ed line items. Supplies, utilities, and building maintenance. Utilities and supplies for custodians, they're just increasing. So we do have some money set aside. I don't know what tomorrow's papers bring, but I have a feeling those were going to be higher. So we have increases for those. All of our, I don't know how this happened, but all of our copier leases are up in 1 year. So we do have a line item for that. It's not much, but it's enough. And then field maintenance. This is something that was in last year's budget as well. It was cut. So this would help with those JV and the fields that are used for the youth sports. So we can address those. With all the increases, we have a few decreases at this moment in time. Contingency expense. This will become a little clearer as we move into the tentative budget when we start talking about revenues as well. Just a reminder, our initial budget this year is just looking at expenditures. Revenues will come in February. But one thing we've always done as a district is we've budgeted a contingency revenue and a contingency expense, and they cancel each other out for $250,000. That was in case we ever received any more state aid than we budgeted. We were told by the state this year that you can't do that. If you do receive more state aid, you have to amend your budget. So it makes no sense for us to keep these contingency expenses and revenues in there. So those are both coming out. Another large decrease is our Berkshire County retirement. That is set by Berkshire County retirement. Those are for our employees that are not part of mass teachers. So that would be our custodians, our cafeteria workers, paraprofessionals, admin assistants. They pay into Berkshire County retirement. For a couple years in a row, we saw some large increases to our Berkshire County retirement assessment. That was to kind of, I think, to get to a point where now we're going to have more reasonable increases year over year, but we do see 1 year of a decrease. But going forward, we'll see smaller increases. And then snow removal, we were able to complete a new 3-year contract, so we were able to decrease the line, which was nice. So we know the flat rate for the next 3 years for our snow removal. Any questions? There's a lot of information, a lot of things, before we move on to salaries.
Greg,
Yes.
in the packet that we got, the summary at the end.
Yes.
I'm just looking at this maintenance line item, a decrease of about 131,000, which includes contingency expense. So that contingency expense that we see there shows up broken out
Yes.
throughout all of.
Let's make sure I understand the question. So on the last page,
20, yeah, I think so.
so that maintenance line, so that, yes, so yours, if you're looking at that last page, that 4210,
Yeah.
that includes our contingency expense of 250. So that section had a
Okay.
decrease because of
So
that
that's
negative.
where all the
250.
contingency went.
Yep.
Okay.
So in reality, our maintenance saw an increase, but because there was a decrease there for
From
contingency.
contingency, yes. Okay.
Okay, let's talk about some salaries. Certified salaries are looking at an increase of $501,826. And or to break that down and talk about each of these positions a little bit. The 3 elementary classroom teachers, one of which it has been added, that was added in August. So that teacher is currently working at Kittredge Elementary School in kindergarten. So that position needs to be put into the budget so that that teacher can become the 1st grade teacher, or we have that position because that class is over 30 students. And we did not have that budget. We did not anticipate that class size growing to that level last year. The other 2 elementary classroom teachers, one is a 5th grade teacher at Craneville Elementary. The current 4th grade has 4 teachers. It has 4 sections, and they will be moving up to 5th grade, which has 3. The number of students at Craneville requires that the 4 teachers move up. In Craneville next year, we'll have 4 sections K through 5. So the 4th grade is the last bubble that we have moving through right now that was small enough that we could have 3 teachers. So we've placed that into the budget. We've known that that was happening throughout as that group moved through. And the 3rd elementary classroom teacher is a 4th grade teacher at Kittredge Elementary School. We've put that in there because in the past, we've come to Finance Committee every August since I've been here, and we've asked for an additional teacher for either a kindergarten or a 1st grade based on enrollment numbers. We know that it's likely that the enrollment at Kittredge will need 2 teachers for next year. It's at, I believe, 26 students right now, and per past practice, we've split classes, elementary classes in 2 in 4th grade at 27. What we've seen over the last few years is Hinsdale, specifically students, moving in over the summer or moving from St. Agnes back to public school. And that's happened every year, and those class sizes have grown. So in anticipation of needing that teacher, rather than coming to you in August and saying we need another teacher, we're trying to get that into the initial budget here. So at least you're hearing about it now that it's likely we'll need an additional teacher at Kittredge come next school year. The skills development teacher, that's our substantially separate programming, is a position that was added in August in order to meet the needs of a student's IEP. That is a position that we need to retain as that student is staying with us. That teacher is currently working here this year and at Nessacus, and we'll need to continue to meet the needs of that student and our vision for skills development overall. So again, that's another teacher that's already working, we're living with that position right now, but it was not in the budget last year. The occupational therapist, increasing our occupational therapist was budgeted last year as a 0.6. We've had increased student needs. We've had to increase her to a 0.8 for this year, and we're anticipating with new students that the need to increase that to a full-time occupational therapist from 0.8 to 1.0 based on student needs and IEPs.
Yeah, that's okay.
She okay?
Yeah.
Okay. And so that group of four are really, or the elementary school teachers, the skills development teacher, the occupational therapist are all really based on either current jobs that we have or anticipated need that, based on numbers in enrollment that we can see needing those for next year. The next two are based on our improvement planning and the conversations that we've had with our, that you had with our principals, that I've had with principals and their teams. We are looking at closing the gap between students with disabilities and students without disabilities, and we've taken a really hard look at our current system, and we're looking at organizing it a little differently for next year to really get two things accomplished. One is to have special education teachers in front of their students instructionally more often. So actually giving special education teachers more face time and classroom time with their students and with general ed teachers. The second thing we're looking to do is to give more collaboration time between general ed teachers and the special education teachers so that they can work together to problem solve how to better support our students who need it the most. These are things that happen across districts, across the country, where we are designing a system that will do that better. We feel really strongly that the only thing that we have to add position-wise to really push that to the next level and make that a reality is to hire an instructional coach who can help coach both our general ed teachers in meeting accommodations and also help coach our special education teachers in both supporting our general ed teachers and our students with disabilities. And so that is a teacher position. It's not an administrative position, but it's an instructional coaching position that we would hope would be effective enough that over time we would no longer need that. But we either need some significant professional development. Right now, we just contracted with NEC, which is the New England Center for Children, to work with one of our programs in order to do exactly what I was just talking about for this year in our skills development program. And the price tag for that out of our professional development line was about $30,000 roughly, and was for a 3-month contract, I believe, in maybe 4 months. And so we know we need that level of intervention. A person who worked for the district would help us do that in a more cost-effective way.
Who actually know the students.
Who actually know the students, yeah. And so that's an ask for next year. And the second is a math interventionist for Nessacus. So a lot of people ask, like, what can we do? What does Nessacus need to, we know we have this last year's 4th grade group. When you looked at the MCAS data, we knew that there were significant gaps in that 4th grade group, which is our current 5th grade. And as we look at the 5th grade group, we know that both in reading and mathematics, there are significant gaps. Nessacus has asked very strategically for somebody to teach math intervention. If you look at that graph on the bottom, this is the current benchmark data. 110 students at Nessacus are 2 or more years behind their peers in mathematics. The 74 students are 3 or more grade levels below. The the data with the gaps that we're seeing in this year's 5th grade is likely to stay the same as this or grow slightly. And Nessacus has been using iReady, which is a state, we've been using it across the district, but they're a year ahead of us on this. And they're getting really good at identifying both the students that have gaps and the specific skill gaps that we have. They can bring that down to the specific mathematical concept or the skill, the mathematical skill that the student needs to work on, and they're looking to have a certified teacher provide that instruction. They're doing that right now in their WIN blocks, but it is not a certified math teacher that's doing it, and they're doing the best that they can. Somebody asked, I think it was Liz that asked during the finance meeting when we presented this, like why math and why not ELA when ELA is a struggle for the group coming up. And the reason is we already have the infrastructure in place to support reading at Nessacus. They're doing a really good job with that. But right now those same people are taking on both ELA and math. And so we're looking to support those students in getting the math intervention they need before they get to high school. And we think we could do that with one additional staff member. Any questions on those certified staff members? Because those are the teachers. Okay. And then the classified salaries are paraprofessionals. We are looking to add 7 paraprofessionals to the budget. 5 of those have been added throughout the year this year that we inherited services for students who have moved into the district, mostly in our substantially separate skills development program at the elementary and middle schools. And so we're already working with 5 of those. The other 2 are to support our redesign of our skills development program and to better support it. And we'll have more details on that as we get into the initial budget. We're still having internal conversations with teams about what next year might look like in the special ed department. And but we have a plan for 2 paraprofessionals that would support the design of the skills development to better meet the needs of our neediest students and the teachers that are working in there as well. And as we know, the cost of outplacement is very hefty, and so we're doing 2 things. One is we're really looking at how we support the students we have, but we're also attracting other students who are either in our towns, who were outplaced, who are looking to come back to our schools because of the reputation that we have of serving our students with disabilities. We've even had families move to Dalton recently in our towns because of our skills development program. So we're doing the best we can, and I think with a little more support, we could do better. And it's exciting that we're focusing our energy on our neediest students because it's a great place to be, but it's a difficult job, and I think we could support it a little better with 2 paraprofessionals. Our other increases are contractual increases, which include our step increases, our column movement in our contracts, and also anticipated collective bargaining increases. We have 3 contracts that are up for renegotiation this year, yes. 2 or 3?
Cafeteria, food service, and custodian.
And custodian.
And admin assistants.
So 4.
No, I said cafeteria and food service. So food service, custodian, and admin assistant.
Thank you. So 3 was right. So 3 anticipated collective bargaining agreements and the contractual increases of our teachers and paraprofessionals, which is the other half. So those are the ideal additions that I think could really support us in doing the work and moving us forward as a district. Questions?
So this next slide, I just thought it was a nice little snapshot of what does our $3.6 million increase, what makes that up? The one thing you have to remember in this is that we did have some decreases. I did have the negatives in there at a moment in time, but it just made it that much more confusing. So that other, all the way on the right-hand side, that 2.35, it includes those decreases, but also the increases to curriculum or just some supplies lines. So they're hidden in that last one.
If you slide all of those bars together, it creates the 100%, right? Yes.
So you can see that of our,
Kind of a Pareto.
so our benefits make up 22% of our increase. You can see I split out 10% of our health insurance, 2 over. That's kind of the unknown. We're hoping for a 10% on active. If it's at that actual 20%, it's another 12% on top of the 22%. Our salary increases that are set in stone that for the employees that we currently have is at 22%. If we include all the new positions, that's just under 11%. So if we add back in the OPEB that we took out last year, that's just under 10%. So it's a nice little, you can kind of see what makes up that 3.6 million. So we're not talking about assessments at this meeting, but we do have our October 1 numbers for the towns. And so this just kind of gives you an idea of what it's going to look like for them, at least for their averages in the 7 towns. Overall, our district students, so our students living in the 7 towns that attend Central Berkshire, is down about 50 students. It was at 1353 and it's at 1306 this year. But if you look on the right-hand side, our school choice is up. So it was at 209, now it's at 250. So overall, we're kind of holding steady as a district. We're only down a few students, about 5 students. No, yes.
It is 5, and it's changed since those numbers, like the real.
Yes, what we're actually looking at has changed, but at least for October 1, that's what everybody uses at that moment in time. And I also left our FY26 assessments, or the apportionments at the very bottom, so you can kind of see which towns went up, which towns decreased. For instance, Dalton is going to see a decrease in their 5-year average, but the towns of like Cummington and Hinsdale are both seeing an increase. This next slide just shows kind of that same information you kind of see over the last 10 years, what the district has, what changes in the district. So that very top line is our total enrollment. The middle red line is our district students, the 7 students living in our 7 towns, and then school choice at the bottom. So one thing you can see, I think of note, is the green line at the top is kind of held steady for the last 10 years. And then the red line in the middle, for the first time, we're at our lowest for our 7 towns since 2015. So we're at 1306. But these will come more into play as we move to the tentative budget. Once
So
we have
in this graph, it looks like school choice is compensating for the.
school choice, yes.
They're basically when we reduce the in-town numbers, it opens up slots for school choice, so they just balance out to keep it steady.
So the last piece of our puzzle is the capital budget for our towns. This we do have current assessments for the towns because this is a 5-year, it's not a 5-year average. This is whoever's sitting in these schools or in the district on October 1 of this year, or of 2025. And we know the numbers for each of the projects. So in the middle, the dark blue squares, these things have been here before. The Wahconah renovation and our Wahconah school project. Wahconah renovations will come off the books in FY29. There was a small decrease year over year as we move through the bond. And then the Wahconah school project, that will come off the books in FY47. We are hoping to go out for bond this year. We are on the books for MSBA for a vote this spring. I am hoping it's before March. But we do have, I've worked with our district treasurer to have some figures in there so we have an idea if we go out for bond, how much we owe and what it will look like for FY27. So that number, that 2.3 million for Wahconah school project, all the way on the right-hand side or in the middle, is the number if we go out for permanent bond this year. The 3 blue squares are the sections in the middle. These were conversations we had at finance as part of our property equipment improvement plan of things we would like to address in the district. So the first one is our Kittredge gym floor. We've been having issues with the gym at Kittredge where the real issue is the stairs going out behind the gym. They're level or actually a little higher than the gym floor. So when snow builds up or ice builds up, it melts into the gym, and then we have issues with water in the gym. This has been happening for years where there has been some rotting. It's not structural issue, but it will become one if we don't address it. So that is about a $75,000 project. It would be a 1 year, it would not be a bond for the towns, but we would like to see where that goes. The next one is the Kittredge trim repair. This is something that Hinsdale has brought to our attention. We have addressed probably 75% of the trim on the building, where we've, it's been cleaned up, but there is one side, mainly, or I believe it's around the gym. The one issue with this is there is lead paint, so there would be some abatement that would need to be done. This is something that Hinsdale would like to see, so we wanted to at least put it on there and see if that's something that can stay through the budget process. The last new one is a zero-turn mower. We do have 2 custodians that go outside for the summer. They do all of our landscaping, or at least our field maintenance, and the yards throughout the 5 schools. We had issues this fall with one of our mowers. I think we got to a point where the Band-Aids just aren't fixing it anymore, and we are gonna need to replace it. So that one would be a district-wide expense, so it's all students in the district, across the district are counted in that one. The Kittredge ones, as you can see, Becket has 0 on those ones. Those figures are who's sitting at Kittredge on October 1 this year. So Becket did not have any students sitting in the Kittredge school on that day, so that's why I have no assessment. So these are things we are gonna have conversations with the towns and see where it goes. I will be sending this out after the meeting, but this bottom is a link to our property equipment improvement plan, so you can kind of see what we have planned out for the next 5 years, what we hope to address. If these don't stay, they'll stay on the peak plan, and then we'll try to address them next year. Because the one thing we do know, this is very heavy on the Hinsdale and Peru families. We have 2 Kittredge projects right there, so, but we want to at least put it out there and see what conversations can be had, how can we address them. If we need to wait, we can wait, but at least it will start the conversation. The last thing I'm going to say is that for the next meeting, we'll go over the, we usually do a district budget website with all the information, so if you want to look at school choice stuff, if you want to look at the property improvement plan will be there, district information. I'll go over that at the next meeting, and then it'll be out there for everyone to click around with. Are there any questions? Or?
So that $40.2 million budget, again, we're hopeful that as we move through January, that 9.94% initial will come down. Right, as we get real numbers, as we see our actual insurance increases, and we're also hopeful that we'll see an increase in some revenues that will also balance some of the costs. So we'll have a much clearer picture when we come back in at the end of January, to finance at the end of January.
Yes. So at least on the last week of January, I believe everything is happening on January 28th. The governor's budget should be out on January 28th, and we'll have our next Berkshire Health Group meeting where we'll have the percentage increases for the premiums next year. So, and then we're meeting as a finance group, I believe, on Thursday, the 29th. So it'll be moving very fast, but as we move into February.
Yeah, we'll know, and we can know what we need to do to move from initial to tentative.
Also, at the next meeting in January, it will be a public hearing for the towns, so the towns are going to be invited to come to the meeting. It has been in the Berkshire Eagle, so we'll do the same presentation in January, but with no changes. Just before the towns.
The initial budget will be at that meeting?
Yes.
This presentation?
This budget, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because we still won't have
Yeah, any more information?
any revenue from the state by that point.
Yeah.
So. Thank you.
Okay. Any good questions? Not seeing none? Okay.
I'll just add in, I think it's important that we understand that this budget was created through the lens of what do we need to operate optimally as a school district, not from the lens of what can we do without. So.
When we look at that, yeah. Cool. Okay, next up is the committee reports. I don't have anything to report out. We'll go first to curriculum, and I think Ellen's not here, and they have not met. Is that right?
That's correct.
Yeah. And the next meeting is the 27th. So finance,
Yeah, so we met on the budget, but we've already heard enough about that. So there were 2 other items that we did cover in our meeting. We met on December 18th, and one of the topics we talked about was fiscal year 2026 rural aid. And the official numbers came in at 1.1 million, which was $145,000 below our original projections, but I think it was still more than what it could have been. So that's great. And it is, Greg let us know that he was pretty confident that the shortfall would be effectively managed in part through increased out-of-district enrollment revenue. It's important to note too, Superintendent recommended that we advocate the state at this point in time because the current revenue is in a surplus, so they should be able to technically fund rural aid fully this year and close that gap. But it's something that really would truly require all of us to advocate for and reach out to our representatives to push for that, because it could make a significant difference for our budget. And then the other update that I have is we did talk about Becket-Washington Elementary School. We had a very in-depth conversation around what to do because of declining enrollment in combined classrooms. Several strong ideas were discussed around different types of potential reorganization plans. One was to potentially move kindergarten and grade 3 to Kittredge to allow Becket-Washington to eliminate combined classrooms to provide a more streamlined educational experience for students in grades 1, 2, 4, and 5. Alongside of this, and this is what we were pretty excited to hear, is that there's a targeted marketing campaign that we have the opportunity to capitalize on right now, as there's a lot of increased demand for our district, and Becket-Washington offers a pathway for other county students to get into our district to then get into our high schools. And so there's points in Pittsfield where it only takes 15 minutes to get to Becket-Washington. So it's exciting. What could we, if you have anything to add?
Yeah, no, that was a very good summary. I think that we've spent a lot of time looking at our school choice numbers. We've been watching closely school choice applications come in, and they're coming in faster than they have before. School choice is a market model, right? It was designed as a way that basically decision makers could shop for the right fit for their children to go to school, and increasingly Central Berkshire is becoming the right fit. And as you can see by the increasing numbers of school choice, we have more and more families. Next year is, if the trend continues with our early school choice applications, we're going to have a very large pool of applicants. We're looking to see how we can divert some of the school choice students who we won't be able to let in at like a Craneville, who is full. We're at capacity at Craneville, and market Becket as a choice for those families who don't get into Craneville. We did that on a very small scale this year, but we were reluctant to do that because we didn't know if we had the teaching staff available with the combined classes. Because if any grade level grew above 10, we then didn't have it in our budget last year to actually add another teacher. So we're looking at a few different models of ways to structure Becket for next year that would allow us to have standalone grade levels that would be budget neutral, and would allow us to fill Becket with some school choice. We've looked at the geography, we've looked at our school choice, the students who have come to our district. We know where they live in what geographic areas we're pulling from. So we think that we have a way of targeting with some minimal marketing, of being able to put our name out there and let people know that we have an option. It's in Becket, and we're looking to grow Becket for the future. we have 2 upcoming community forums where we're going to be talking specifically about options and impact on families, and also looking at some data that we've collected around people's experience with multi-grading. We didn't take multi-grading off the table completely. We're just exploring several options so we can make the one that's best for the future of Becket. The other thing that went into consideration of this is we took a preliminary look at the possible impact of a school closure and the financial impact on the district. With the staff that we would need to retain, and what would result in is cost savings from closure, which includes like utilities, gas, some custodial, and a few other buckets. Based on school choice numbers out, when Cummington closed their elementary school, when Adams Cheshire closed Cheshire Elementary School, we've looked at those numbers, and the number of students that left school choice is around 60%. And if 60% of our Becket students left because of school choice, or our Washington students, we would actually be, it's possible that it would be it would cost us money. Closing, and it's like 200, we were at the $230,000 range. It would save us to close. We're anticipating it would cost us about $250,000 in school choice if we shut Becket down and out. And we're going to continue exploring that, but our first step is really going to be pushing Becket as a small school with a big future, and we're going to do our best to get students there. So, sorry, I jumped in there.
Yeah,
That was
great. You could probably speak to it better than my notes, so. The only thing I have to add is that we're scheduled to meet January 29th at 6:30. Location to be determined, unless we meet that spot.
Any questions?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Rural aid, is that all going to operational?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what we budgeted for.
I know a lot of districts do that. I know the intent was for collaboration, consolidation, regional efficiencies. There's not a law that we have to do that. I'm just looking to see how we're kind of putting that forward. I think if we can put that message forward, that would help.
So the
kind of
way it was budgeted last year necessitated that we put it towards operational, because we used it as a revenue source in our operational budget, and we put in $1.2 million as a revenue source to offset our operational costs, and we only received $1.1 million. So we couldn't have used it any other way other than operational costs, because that was our revenue source for the way that it was done last year.
The only thing I would add is if we did receive the amount we received the year before, which was
Yep.
1.6, there would have been money left. We would have had that conversation this
Right.
fall with the additional 300,000, how we would use it, and if it would be collaboration, would it be, but
Right.
we didn't receive the same amount.
And if rural aid was fully funded at $60 million rather than $12 million, our district, who's the #2 receiver of rural aid in the state, would not be looking at a 9% increase, right? And so, again, if all of you could advocate to the governor, I put it in my message. I guess do you get my messages that I send out to the family when I send out family messages monthly? So you can click a button, it opens up an email to the governor, and there's a copy and paste message that you can put in to advocate for rural aid. I can reshare that. Actually, Friday, a communication is going out again to families. It's included in there as well. Please take the time to copy and paste and send it. And you don't have to copy and paste it. You can write whatever else you would like. But there's details specific to Central Berkshire too. And it costs us 20% more to run a rural regional district than it does a non-rural regional, and we're feeling it. And our towns feel it. And when I testified around Chapter 70 funding, this model and our lack of Chapter 70 funding, it unnecessarily pits towns against school districts, and it's doing it across Massachusetts, and our towns need the support as much as the school district does. And until Chapter 70, the Chapter 70 formula is reformulated, which it could be shortly, and only if it's restructured in a way that benefits rural districts,
Or at least doesn't impact
or
negatively.
negatively, the only other avenue that we have to keep districts like ours serving our students is rural aid. So if anything that we can do to ask the governor to get that funded at the full $60 million level would really be it would be a game changer for us, for sure.
Yeah. Anything else? Okay, next up is policy.
We have not met since our last meeting, but we have a meeting coming up on next Thursday. The date is now, thank you. At 6:30 at the central office.
Okay, personnel has not met, safety and wellness, John, I don't think you've met, right? John?
We're scheduled to meet on Monday, February 2nd at 7 o'clock,
Right,
virtually.
okay. And nothing on the Wahconah building project or the regional cooling man. You talked a little bit about the bond, we're waiting on, for the Wahconah building project, we're waiting on MSBA to get back to us on that. And superintendent evaluation ad hoc. Barbara, is anything there?
Yeah, we met on December 15th, and Dr. Hinault shared his screen and walked us through the relevant folders that he has been preparing, and we are going to continue to work with him, and in April, we're going to have March, I think, we're going to have a final meeting on the 16th, March 16th, and then we'll present it to you guys in May. So you can see all of the folders, all of the links that he's provided for us to help to assist in the writing of the evaluation. And then we'll present it in May and we'll be due in June. But I'm really happy to report that it's very robust. I went in there today and I saw lots of things added, and I think it's going to be a pleasure, almost, instead of a tedious task, to complete the evaluation. So we're looking forward to that. Our next meeting is, as I said, March 16th.
Cool. Any questions for Barbara? All right, thank you. So, okay, is there any old business? New business? Remarks for the good of the committee?
I just wanted to say thank you for allowing me to Zoom in all these months. I'm getting better. I'm almost ready to drive again, so I hope to see you all soon in person.
That's good news, Barbara.
Thank you.
Okay, can I get a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Motion second. Roll call vote, please.
Dr. Kraft-Reese,
Yes.
Charlotte Crane,
Yes.
Todd Emerson,
Yes.
Mr. Farella,
Yes.
Elizabeth Lounsbury,
Yes.
John Mason,
Yes.
Stephen Morantz,
Yes.
Mr. Stewart.
Yep.
Sarah Tucker,
Yes.
Kimberly Witherall,
Yes.
Rich Peters.
Yes, motion, meeting adjourned. Okay, say that.